It was supposed to be the proudest night of my life, my retirement party after 42 years of loyal service. The hall was full, applause rang out, and my heart swelled with pride. But in one instant, all of that pride was crushed. My own son stood up in front of hundreds of people and said, "You all think he's a great man? He's not. He's selfish. He abandoned us for his work. He doesn't deserve your applause. He deserves your pity." The crowd went silent. My wife lowered her head in shame, and I stood frozen, humiliated, betrayed by the very person I loved most. But here's the thing. He thought he had destroyed me. What happened next proved that betrayal always comes with a price, and karma doesn't miss. It was supposed to be the proudest night of my life, my retirement party, after 42 long years of service. The hall glowed with golden lights, laughter echoed, and my colleagues clapped as I walked in. My wife smiled proudly. My daughter waved. And for a brief moment I thought, I did it. I gave them the life I never had. But hidden beneath the applause was a shadow. My son Daniel sat with his arms crossed, his face carved with bitterness. I brushed it off, not knowing that within the hour, he would humiliate me in front of everyone. The event began beautifully. Old friends shared stories of my dedication. A slideshow of memories flashed across the screen, decades of hard work, late nights, sacrifices, victories. My chest swelled with pride, though a quiet ache reminded me of what I'd missed. Birthdays, graduations, moments gone forever. Still, I told myself it was worth it. My family was cared for, my children educated, the roof over our heads secure. As I stepped onto the stage to thank everyone, I felt tears sting my eyes. I had no idea that Daniel was already planning his cruelest blow. I tapped the microphone, my hands trembling from both nerves and joy. Thank you all," I began. The room hushed, every eye on me. These 42 years have been more than a career. They've been a journey. I missed some moments, yes, but every sacrifice was for my family. Polite applause rose, warming me. I smiled at my wife, who nodded with tears in her eyes. But just as I was about to step down, Daniel stood abruptly. His chair screeched against the floor. He strode toward me, his lips curled into something between a smirk and a sneer. My heart dropped. "Dad," he said loudly into the microphone, "you've fooled them all." Gasps rippled through the audience. He scanned the room, his voice sharp, dripping with resentment. "You all clap for him like he's some kind of hero. But do you know what kind of father he really was? Selfish, obsessed with work, absent from his family. He missed birthdays. He missed graduations. He missed me." Murmurs spread like wildfire. My chest tightened. My daughter shook her head in disbelief. My wife covered her mouth with trembling hands. And there I was, frozen, humiliated by my own son. Daniel's voice grew louder, fueled by years of resentment. "You all think he sacrificed for us? No, he sacrificed us for his career. He cared more about a paycheck than his own children." A hush fell over the hall. Some colleagues shifted uncomfortably, unsure whether to defend me or stay silent. My heart pounded like a drum in my ears. I wanted to speak, to defend myself, but my throat closed. Every word from my son cut deeper than the last. I had faced ruthless bosses, sleepless nights, and crushing deadlines. But nothing hurt like hearing my own flesh and blood condemn me. I tried to step forward, my lips parting, but Daniel raised his hand to silence me. "Don't bother. They deserve to know the truth. While you were working late, Mom cried herself to sleep. While you were chasing promotions, I was learning to live without a father." The words landed like blows. My wife wept silently. My colleagues avoided my eyes. I wanted the ground to swallow me whole. My retirement party, the celebration of my life's work, had turned into my public trial, and my accuser was the one person whose approval I craved most. My son. Daniel's tone sharpened, almost venomous now. You stand here, smiling like some noble man, but you don't deserve this applause. You don't deserve respect. You don't even deserve to call yourself a father. A stunned silence filled the hall. My body felt heavy, like each word chained me down. My coworkers, people who once admired me, looked conflicted, some even ashamed to meet my gaze. Daniel wasn't finished. He leaned toward the crowd, his voice dropping lower, colder. You all clap for him because you don't know the truth, but I do. And tonight, everyone will. The crowd gasped as Daniel began sharing personal moments I thought were buried. When I won my first soccer medal, he wasn't there. When I graduated, he was late and left early for a meeting. And when Mom was in the hospital, he sent flowers but didn't show up. That's the man you're celebrating. I felt my knees weaken. Each example twisted a knife deeper into my heart. I wanted to shout, to explain, to beg for understanding, but my voice betrayed me. All I could do was stand there, trembling, as my legacy crumbled before my eyes. Daniel paced the stage like a prosecutor, every step echoing across the silent hall. Do you all still want to applaud him? Go on. Clap for the man who chose strangers over his own family. He pointed straight at me, eyes blazing. Dad, you cared more about your desk than your own son. And now you think you deserve a celebration? His voice cracked with anger. You don't deserve anything. The crowd sat frozen, torn between shock and pity. My wife quietly sobbed. My daughter whispered, "Stop, please." But Daniel ignored her. His rage had been unleashed, and there was no stopping it. The final blow came like a hammer. Daniel turned back to the microphone, his voice shaking with both fury and triumph. You don't need applause tonight. You need forgiveness, but you'll never get it from me. He dropped the mic onto the table with a loud clang. The sound echoed like thunder. The hall was silent, suffocating. I stood there, stripped of dignity. The applause that had once filled the room now replaced with uneasy murmurs. My chest ached, my hands trembled. For the first time in my life, I felt truly small. My retirement party had become my humiliation. The applause never returned. Instead, the room filled with whispers that clung to me like chains. I lowered my eyes, unable to meet a single gaze. My colleagues shuffled in their seats, unsure if they should comfort me or pretend nothing had happened. My wife placed a trembling hand on mine, but I pulled away. I couldn't bear her pity. When the event finally ended, people filed out quietly, avoiding me. I had walked into that hall a man respected by many, and I walked out feeling like a disgrace. My son had taken everything from me in a single night. At home, the silence was deafening. I sat alone in the living room, staring at the floor while the echoes of Daniel's voice replayed in my head. You don't deserve anything. The words cut deeper with every repetition. My wife tried to speak, but I held up a hand. Please, not now. I felt hollow, like a shell of the man I used to be. For the first time in decades, I questioned everything. Had I truly failed my family? Were all those nights at the office nothing but wasted sacrifices? The weight of regret pressed harder than ever before. Sleep escaped me that night. I sat in the dark, staring at the family photos on the wall. Each frame felt like an accusation. Daniel as a boy, holding my hand at the park. His first bicycle ride. His graduation cap. Memories I thought were proof of my love now mocked me with absence. Where was I in those moments? Behind a desk. On a call. chasing deadlines. My heart ached as I whispered into the silence. Maybe he's right. Maybe I was never a good father. Tears I hadn't shed in years spilled freely, and I let them. Days turned into weeks, but the shame didn't fade. Friends called offering sympathy, but I declined their visits. I couldn't stand their pity. Every time my phone rang, I feared it was another whisper of what happened at the party. My daughter visited, begging me not to lose hope. "Dad, you gave us everything," she said softly. But Daniel's words drowned her out. I kept replaying that night, every cruel sentence. I had faced countless battles in my career, but this one, against my own blood, I didn't know how to fight. For the first time in my life, I felt defeated. Then one morning the phone rang. It was Richard, a close friend from the company. His tone was serious. "Have you heard about Daniel?" My stomach clenched. Richard sighed. "He's been let go. Misuse of company funds. Word is, he was using expense accounts for personal luxuries." I froze. My son, the same man who had shamed me in front of hundreds, was now exposed for dishonor. "I thought you should know," Richard added. My hand trembled as I hung up. For the first time since that night, I felt something shift. Not joy, not triumph, but a strange, heavy justice. News spread quickly. Old colleagues called again, not to talk about my shame, but about Daniel's downfall. "Unbelievable," one said. "The man who tore you down turned out worse than he claimed you were." Whispers that once condemned me now turned toward him. I should have felt vindicated, but instead I sat quietly, conflicted. A part of me wanted to gloat, to shout, "See, the truth always comes out." Yet another part of me ached. This was my son, my flesh and blood. And watching him fall felt like watching a piece of myself crumble. Karma had struck, but it cut both ways. Daniel's world unraveled quickly. Former friends avoided him. His name spread through whispers not as a victim of a harsh father, but as a man who betrayed his own company. He tried to find new work, but no employer would take him. The scandal followed everywhere. One evening, I heard a knock on the door. When I opened it, there he was, my son, disheveled, eyes hollow, pride shattered. "Dad," his voice cracked, "I need help." For a moment I saw not the man who had humiliated me, but the boy I once carried on my shoulders. My chest tightened. He dropped to his knees, tears streaming down his face. "I was wrong," he whispered. "I was so angry at you for not being there when I was young. But I became worse. I lied, I cheated, I destroyed everything myself." His hands shook as he covered his face. "Please, forgive me." My wife stood silently behind me, her eyes full of pain. My daughter clutched her chest, tears falling. And me? I stood frozen, torn between rage and sorrow. Karma had humbled him in ways I never could, but forgiveness was another matter entirely. The room was heavy with silence. My wife placed her hand gently on my shoulder. My daughter whispered, "Dad, he's still your son." I closed my eyes, torn. Finally, I reached down and helped him to his feet. "I won't forget what you did," I said firmly, "but I won't let anger destroy us either." Daniel sobbed, clinging to me. It wasn't a happy ending, not yet. Trust would take time to rebuild, but in that moment I chose to rise above bitterness. My son had humiliated me, yet I would not let hatred define the rest of my life. As the days passed, Daniel began rebuilding his life, step by step, with humility he had never shown before. And I, though still scarred by his betrayal, found strength in forgiveness. That night at my retirement party, I thought I had lost everything: respect, dignity, even my son. But in truth, I gained something greater: the proof that integrity cannot be destroyed by lies, and that time has a way of revealing the truth. Betrayal cuts deepest when it comes from family. But even in the face of humiliation, dignity will outlast disgrace. My son tried to tear me down before the world, yet it was his own actions that unraveled him. And when karma came, it came hard. So remember this: honor may stumble, but it never falls. And those who trade respect for pride will always pay the price. If this story moved you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us keep sharing stories that remind us about family, respect, and the lessons life teaches in the hardest ways. And if you have a personal story of betrayal, forgiveness, or karma that you'd like to see featured here, send it to me at my email. I read every submission, and who knows, your story might be the next one we bring to life on this channel. Thank you for watching. And until next time, remember, integrity always outlasts arrogance.